Have you ever wondered? If everything you know about the history of the Church is true, what if I told you that behind the curtains of faith, there is a game of shadows, manipulation, and power that has stretched across centuries? What seemed to be a battle between light and darkness may in reality be nothing more than a theater where both sides serve the same master. Today, we're going to dive into a story that few dare to tell: the relationship between the Church and the Illuminati, a controversial, polarizing, and conspiratorial topic. But what if everything dismissed as mere theory was actually part of a real plan? The Illuminati, a secret society supposedly eradicated in the 18th century, are often portrayed as the master architects of global control. But what if they were never truly destroyed, only disguised? And even more shocking, what if I told you that they found refuge within the Church itself? If this truth were to come to light, the world as we know it would never be the same. The origins of a secret power now. Prepare yourself. The story you are about to hear may change your perception of everything. At the end of the 18th century, a secret group emerged in Bavaria. Led by Adam Weishaupt, a professor of canon law, the Illuminati had a clear objective: to redefine the world through the control of ideas, power, and influence. They claimed that their mission was to enlighten minds, freeing them from the ignorance imposed by religions and monarchies. But the reality may have been far darker. Many believed that this group was merely a tool, that in truth they worked in the name of something far greater. At the time, the Church was the greatest center of power. It controlled kings, empires, and even collective thought. But while priests preached obedience, a silent war was unfolding behind the scenes. The Vatican knew about the existence of the Illuminati. But here's the most chilling detail. Some documents suggest that not only did they know, but that certain members of the Church were part of this secret group. But why? Why would an institution that preaches faith align itself with a society that sought to destroy its influence? The answer lies in power, the greatest game ever played. Let's think for a moment. If you wanted to control the world, what would be the most effective method? Weapons, politics, economy, or spiritual control? Religion shapes consciousness. It defines right and wrong. It forms civilizations. And what if a group were able to distort faith for its own purposes? Many researchers suggest that various changes within the Church throughout history were, in fact, influenced by external forces. Changes in sacred texts, councils that altered ancient beliefs, religious figures who rose to power under suspicious circumstances, and the question remains, was all of this mere coincidence or something planned? What if the Illuminati, instead of destroying the Church, realized it was more advantageous to control it from within? Hidden symbols, clues left in plain sight? Now, look around you. The grand cathedrals, the stained glass windows, the sculptures. Have you ever noticed the symbols hidden inside churches, pyramids, all-seeing eyes, references to occultism within religious structures? Coincidence, or a silent message for those who know where to look? Even the Vatican itself, the epicenter of the Church, contains images and symbols that raise serious questions. The Illuminati have always been obsessed with the power of knowledge. Their marks appear in institutions of power. And shockingly, some of these signs can be found inside the Church. Why? What does this mean? Are we witnessing a secret fusion, or are these symbols simply meaningless coincidences? A game of illusions, faith versus reason, or something else? Pay close attention. If all of this is true, it means that the battle between faith and reason, between religion and secret societies, has always been an illusion. Perhaps the two sides are not as opposed as they seem. In the next episodes, we will explore how this connection may have influenced major historical events, from the rise and fall of empires to the secrets that may be hidden in classified Vatican documents. And remember, everything that seems impossible may simply be a truth that has been carefully hidden. Are you ready to uncover more? In the dark corridors of the Vatican, there are doors that have never been opened to the public. Behind them, a secret kept under lock and key, documents that were never meant to see the light of day. ancient writings, forbidden accounts, manuscripts that could change the way we see history. The Vatican's secret archives is one of the most heavily guarded places in the world, a repository spanning centuries. Some claim that within its walls lie records about the Illuminati, correspondences, names, pacts, alliances, proof that the Church and the secret society may have walked together at key moments in history. But who has access to this information? Who truly knows what is hidden there? Priests, cardinals, bishops, or is it someone else? What would happen if someone revealed what is stored in these archives? Many who have tried disappeared without a trace. But the truth always finds a way to surface, a silent war inside the Church. Not every priest is just a priest. Not every bishop serves only the Church. In the Middle Ages, the Illuminati moved silently, hidden beneath cloaks, within monasteries, between flickering candlelight. They studied, they observed, they influenced. But what if this never stopped? What if even today figures of authority within the Church are part of something much larger? If this is true, it means that the decisions that shaped doctrines changed. Dogmas and established rules on right and wrong may not have been made solely by the Church, but by a hidden group within it. Many popes have been elected under mysterious circumstances. Some choices were made behind closed doors, not by the Holy Spirit, but by influences that were never revealed to the public. Could it be that faith itself has been turned into a political game, a game where only a few know the truth and the rest follow blindly? The symbols hidden in plain sight now. Look again at Vatican City. Observe its monuments. The obelisk in the center of St. Peter's Square, an Egyptian symbol of sun worship, the design of St. Peter's Basilica, eerily similar to ancient pagan temples. And inside the Vatican, within sculptures, stained glass and paintings, there are strange signs, symbols that appear in secret societies, the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, the pentagram. Why do these symbols, historically linked to occultism, appear inside the very heart of the Catholic Church? Coincidence, or hidden messages left behind for those who know how to interpret them? Many believe that these signs indicate the presence of the Illuminati within the Church itself. What if they were always there? What if the Vatican was never just a center of faith, but a center of power, where hidden forces have shaped the course of humanity? And when someone discovers the truth, what happens to them? Throughout history, figures within the Church have died under strange circumstances. Some were found poisoned, others hanged in their own cells. One of the most enigmatic cases was that of Pope John Paul I. He lasted only 33 days as Pope. The number 33 carries deep significance in secret societies. His death was sudden, with no convincing official explanation. And some say he discovered something he was never meant to know. What did John Paul I know? What could have led to his sudden death? Was he about to reveal a dangerous truth? And how many others might have suffered the same fate without the world ever knowing? Faith or control? The power of the Church is not just in faith. It lies in information. In the past, only priests had access to scriptures. Only they could interpret them. Only they could tell the people what was right and what was wrong. Today, information is everywhere. But are we truly free? The Illuminati have always sought to control the collective mind. If they have influenced governments, kings, and societies, why wouldn't they also influence religion? Some of the greatest events in history were manipulated, but what if the greatest manipulation of all is happening within faith itself? The truth is out there, in the symbols, in the documents, in the traces that no one dares to follow. Are you ready to see it? Inside the walls of the Vatican, there is an ancient ritual, a sacred event, but surrounded by secrets, the conclave, the moment when a new pope is chosen. But what happens behind closed doors? No one truly knows. Only cardinals are allowed inside. Only they know the votes. And yet, there are strange reports. The white smoke announces the election of a new spiritual leader for over 1 billion believers. But what if, behind that smoke, there were forces determining who truly ascends to the throne? Of St. Peter? Since the Middle Ages, papal elections have been influenced by political interests. But some say the game goes far beyond politics. What if the Illuminati had their own agenda inside the conclave. If that were the case, then the Church might not be guided by the Holy Spirit, but by a secret society that uses faith as a tool for control. And if the white smoke that rises to the sky is nothing more than a veil to hide the truth, the prophecies that were never meant to be revealed. Many prophecies have shaped the history of the Church, but few are as enigmatic as the secrets of Fatima. In 1917, 3 Portuguese children claimed to have received messages from the Virgin Mary. 3 visions, 3 secrets. The first 2 were revealed to the world, but the third secret was kept in absolute secrecy for decades. When the Vatican finally disclosed it, many believed that it was not the original text. What was being hidden? Some theorists believe that the third secret of Fatima made direct reference to the infiltration of hidden forces within the Church. If this prophecy warned about a secret dominion over faith, then the decision to conceal it may have been an attempt to protect that very control. And once again, the question arises, who is afraid of the truth? The hidden enemies. Within the Church has always had external enemies, but what about the enemies from within? In 1976, an archbishop made a shocking statement. He claimed that inside the Vatican, there existed a secret Masonic lodge, a discreet society formed by priests, bishops, and even cardinals. Leaked reports indicate that this secret order may have direct influence over the decisions of the Church. This could explain many of the inexplicable changes within the Vatican. What if, instead of being an external force, the Illuminati had merged with the very structure of the Church? In that case, the battle between good and evil would not be taking place outside the sacred walls, but within them. And the leaders, the world, sees as spiritual guides, may be just pieces in a much larger game. When a pope falls, coincidence or hidden hands? History shows that not every pope keeps his throne. Some resign, others die suddenly. But are all these falls mere coincidences? One of the most mysterious cases was that of Pope Benedict XV. He unexpectedly resigned from the papacy. The official explanation? Health reasons. But rumors say he was forced out. Forced by whom? In his final speech, he used an intriguing phrase. He mentioned that the wolves are on the loose. Who were these wolves? And if his resignation was the result of an internal power struggle? Perhaps forces within the Church decide who can and cannot remain in command. And if someone defies these forces, their fate is already sealed. A faith manipulated, how much has been changed? Now think carefully. If this relationship between the Church and the Illuminati is real, how many of the beliefs taught over centuries have been manipulated? What is genuine? What has been altered? If a secret group has the power to influence dogmas, traditions, and even the election of a pope, then what does this mean for the faith that billions follow worldwide? Could it be that the greatest religious institutions in history have been nothing more than pieces on an invisible chessboard? If this is true, then churches are not just spiritual temples. They may be fortresses of control. The greatest manipulation of all time. And if this is true, then perhaps the greatest manipulation in human history was never political, economic, or military, but rather spiritual. When we look at the cross, we see a symbol of faith, an emblem of sacrifice. But what if this sacred image held a much deeper meaning, hidden beneath layers of history? Now think of the pyramid, a symbol frequently linked to the occult, power, and secret societies. But what if I told you that these two images are not as separate as they seem? Inside the great cathedrals, there are architectural details that merge both symbols. On altars, stained glass windows, frescoes. What does this mean? Is it merely coincidence? Or a hidden message that from the very beginning, the Church and secret societies walked side by side? Think about it. If these connections are real, then the faith we know may have been shaped not only by the divine, but also by invisible hands working behind the scenes. And what if these symbols are clues? Clues left by those who know the truth, but could never say it out loud. What lies hidden in the depths of the Vatican? Inside the Vatican, there are forbidden places, corridors where only a few may enter, archives that no one can read. But what is buried beneath this sacred city? There are ancient accounts of secret rituals happening behind closed doors, practices that should not exist within a Christian environment. A former priest who chose to remain anonymous once mentioned something disturbing. There are ceremonies that are not conducted in the light of day. They take place at midnight, in halls where faith and mystery collide. But what kind of ceremony could this be? Are they merely discreet religious gatherings or something far darker? And if within the Vatican there exists a secret order whose rituals go beyond common faith? If this is true, then the world's perception of religion may be only the surface of something much older, something far more powerful. The lost knowledge that could change everything. Not everything written about faith has reached us. There were books, manuscripts, ancient writings that could tell a completely different story about the church. But they disappeared. Some were burned, others were locked away in underground vaults, and there are theories that these texts could expose hidden connections. What if, inside these manuscripts, there were names, details, revelations about those who truly control the course of religion? What does the church not want the world to know? What did the Illuminati need to keep secret? If these texts were never revealed, then the truth is still hidden. And whoever controls this information controls the history of humanity itself. The hidden influence over world power faith has always influenced governments. Papacies and monarchies have always walked side by side. But what about the modern world? Who truly pulls the strings of power? We know that many influential political figures have close ties to religious leaders. Presidents who swear oaths before Christian symbols, leaders who are guided in their decisions by spiritual advisors. But what if these alliances are not just about faith? What if there are hidden agendas? If the Illuminati managed to infiltrate the church, and if the church has always held power over politics, then this means that a single group could be controlling everything. Governments, religion, the economy. Everything could be controlled by the same interests. And if that is the case, then the world we know is nothing more than a chessboard, and we are merely pieces in this game. The final question: what comes next? Now, think about everything that has been said. If this connection between the church and the Illuminati is real, then the history of humanity may have been written by invisible hands. What we call faith may have been manipulated. What we call truth may have been altered. But if this is true, what is the next move on this chessboard? Behind the scenes is something being planned, a global event, a silent transformation that few will ever notice. One thing is certain: power never disappears. It only hides, and those who control it never leave a trace. The ultimate question: can you see beyond the veil? Since the beginning of time, faith has guided entire civilizations. But what would happen if that faith were being controlled, manipulated, by a group that remains hidden? For centuries, the church has been seen as a bastion of truth, a safe harbor for millions of people. But what if, at the heart of this institution, there was a shadow? And what if that shadow was the key to controlling humanity? Some say an event is approaching, a global shift, something that was foretold in ancient prophecies and may reveal the true face of hidden power. Inside the Vatican, locked away in inaccessible archives, there are reports of a final prophecy, something few have ever heard of, something that, if true, could completely change everything we believe in. But are we ready to hear this truth, or will it be silenced, just like so many others before it? A new era of faith or a global control system? Faith shapes the world, but the modern world needs a unified faith, one belief, one doctrine, one leader. It is no coincidence that, in recent years, a movement has emerged proposing a global religious unification. But what if this new faith was designed by those who control the shadows? Imagine a world where all religions are merged into one. A world where spirituality is no longer an individual right, but a doctrine imposed from above. If the Illuminati have always sought total control, then it makes perfect sense that the next step would be controlling faith itself. And what if this unification is already underway, without most people realizing it? The ultimate goal has always been power. but a power that goes beyond money, beyond politics, a power over the human soul. The secret pact, a truth. Hidden for centuries, in the highest circles of the church, there is a rumor, a secret that has never been confirmed. A pact made centuries, ergot between high-ranking clergy members and secret societies. This pact had one purpose, to ensure that true power never left the hands of the same elite. That would explain why the most important changes within the church were never decided by the people, but by a select group of individuals. But what if this pact still exists today? What if this alliance is what really keeps the power structure standing? If this is true, then faith is not just a spiritual matter. It is the greatest social control mechanism ever created. Now you have seen the evidence, you have recognized the patterns, you have noticed the signs. But what will you do with this information? Ignore it and continue living without questioning. Start looking beyond what we have been taught? The Illuminati and the church may be connected in ways most would never imagine. But the truth has always been there, for those who dare to seek it. Now the choice is yours. What do you believe? What do you see? And more importantly, what will you do with this knowledge? Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this connection between the church and the Illuminati? Do you believe something is being hidden? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think about all of this. And if you want to keep exploring these mysteries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here we go beyond the obvious. We search for the truth that no one wants you to uncover. And there's much more coming. So turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. The truth is out there, but few are willing to see it. Are you? If so, I'll see you in the next video.